Alright, we continue the Final Destination series with Final Destination 2, which came out 3 years later in 2003. And James Wong, who directed the first one, didn't return, but instead it was directed by David R. Ellis. And it's weird because out of all of them, all the sequels, this is the one, well, maybe 5. This is the one that closely connects to the first film. It has a cast member from the first film and Ali Larter returning. And the story revolves around a teenage girl, college-age girl, whatever, who gets a premonition that there's going to be a pileup on the highway she's driving on. And, of course, people, because she does this, some people are saved, and they start dying one by one. Each film is kind of like this. Someone gets a vision of something's going to happen, people are going to die, she freaks out, people don't die, and then death comes after them. It's basically the premise. I'm going to say, I'll tell you this, though. Like I said, this one is the closest to being a true sequel to the first one. It really connects to it. You have Ali Larter come back. And the first thing that I'm going to say about this is I don't like the way they handled Alex Browning's death. Yes, Devon Sawa, for whatever reason, didn't come back to do this film. So, they killed him off. But how they decided to kill him off? They explain that he died when a brick fell and hit him in the head. Alex Browning was smarter than that. He was smart. There's the scene in the first one when he's up at Clear's cabin. He's got everything set up, and he hears a noise, and he opens the door, and he finds a fishing hook. It's rusted. Tetanus. He's smart. He would not be caught by a falling brick. Alright? There's no way. They wanted an easy way to write him out because they couldn't get him to come back. And it's not the same writers, so they didn't know how to do it. Watch the first movie. You'll see how smart Alex Browning was. One thing I do like, though, and it's kind of, I kind of figured it out this time, is the connections that these characters have with the first film. There's a scene. We've had a few deaths. Evan's death, we had Kimberly's friends that died right away. Evan dies when a letter goes through his face. And most recently we had Nora's death where she gets decapitation from the alligator. There's like elevator and alligator together. Elevator. And so now they're driving. They believe that this pregnant woman, Isabella, who if she gives birth to this baby will give new life and stop this. Well, spoiler alert, of course. She was supposed to survive the crash anyway, so it wouldn't have worked. As they're driving, they start talking. And it, says it first? I think it's, T.C. Carson, what his name is? Whatever his name is, the African-American teacher. He starts talking about, that it's not his first time he, stopped death, because he was, he's a teacher. A kid brought a knife to school to stab his teacher. Teacher would have been him, but he got transferred 2 days earlier. Or a day earlier, whatever. Then they start telling their stories. Burke, the policeman, played very brilliantly by Michael Landis, who I think is an underrated actor, by the way. He got a call about a train wreck and went to answer it, and his partner went on without him and died in a shootout. He would have died too if he didn't go. Then Kat, who's driving the car, has one that she was on her way to a bed and breakfast, and that bed and breakfast had a gas leak that killed everyone in it. Only she didn't make it because her bus had an accident where they hit someone. And then they started piecing it together. That was Terry Chaney from the first film. She was on the bus that hit Terry, and thing. And then Rory, the druggie of the group, starts talking about his experience. He was in Paris, high on acid, tripping on acid, sipping lattes and such. When he sees a dude get whacked by a falling sign, and he was supposed to be in a building to go to some theater that collapsed. Well, because he got distracted by seeing Carter get hit by the falling sign, he wasn't in there when it happened. we go back to Eugene, that's his name, the teacher, and he says that the teacher ended up replacing was Val Lewton. That always confused me because she was gonna die either way, on the plane or whatever. So why would he replacing? He wasn't replacing her at Mount Abraham. I just put it together. Val Lewton was on her way to be transferred to another school, moving away from that. He took that job, and so yeah, and then she died so she wasn't able to take that job, so he got transferred. That, I finally caught that. Something else I finally caught too. We'll discuss that. And Burke, of course, the train wreck was Billy Hitchcock when he cut off his head, which I didn't talk about much of the kills. Really, I didn't talk about that, but that's one of my favorite kills in the first one. But I only got so much time to talk about stuff now. My camera's annoying. But anyway, so that's the connection. And then Kimberly's connection is that she got distracted about a news story covering Todd's suicide. And her mother went outside, she didn't. Her mother got mugged and killed by these people, and she didn't because she got distracted. Now, my problem with this is, yes, it's cool to establish a connection, but what about the people that have already died? What about the people that died in the accident? You know, would they have a connection? What about Kimberly's friends? What was their connection? What about Nora and Tim? What was their connection? You know? What is it? You know? Who knows? Another thing I noticed this time. After Rory and Kat bite the dust, we're down to 3. 4, Eugene is taken to the hospital, and we're down to 3 left because Eugene's in the hospital. And they go to the hospital, and Kimberly's still having these visions. And then Isabella gives birth. That doesn't work because she wasn't supposed to die in there. And then Clear and Eugene bite it. When Clear opens the door, this thing is all set up, and an explosion happens, blowing them to pieces. What I noticed this time is that there's this cart that comes flying and almost hits Burke, but Kimberly moves him out of the way. This is important. That means he was supposed to die in that explosion too, but she pulled him, which means it skipped him and went to him. As we know from the first film, if you stop someone's death, it skips them and moves on to the next one, which would be Kimberly. Kimberly then has the idea that she, new life. Guy finds new life after accident. So she drives Isabella's van someone's van into the river. And, because I thought about this too. Earlier in the film, Eugene tried to kill himself with Burke's gun. And he wasn't able to, even though it was filled with 6 bullets. They said, was it a dud? 6 in a row? That's impossible. Which means you can't kill yourself if it's not your turn. If it wasn't Kimberly's turn to die, death would not have let her, she wouldn't be able to start the car or something. Something would have stopped her from going into the water, something. But it was her turn. She was about to die, and then she gets revived. So she has new life. You understand? And then we get this little thing, at the end, where it's revealed to them, we already saw it, that Rory saved this kid who was about to get hit by a news van. And then he explodes while checking on the I can't think of it, a grill. And I call bullshit. Because for one, that kid wasn't supposed to die. And you can say, oh, but he saved him, he was going to run over. But think about it. If she hadn't had the vision, that kid would still be alive. So he was nowhere in Death's plan until he walked in front of the thing. You cannot tell me that some idiot kid just accidentally walking into the path of a van is Death's design. I know, all these kills are made to look like accidents, because of death. But that's bullshit. That kid should not have died. They wanted a twist ending, so they added that in there, and that's fucking stupid. no way he was supposed to die. Because like I said, if that accident had not happened, or if she had not had that vision, I mean, that kid would still be alive. Possibly. Most likely. But they just wanted a twist at the end. I'm going to go ahead and spoil this, alright? You see Burke and Kimberly alive at the end. They don't end up having a happily ever after. In a special DVD game you get with Final Destination 3, there's a part towards the end of the film where there's a newspaper rolling around. If you click on the newspaper, it shows an article about how Burke and Kimberly died when they were accidentally sucked in by a wood chipper. So that crosses the T's and dots the I's with that one, right? Because everybody has to die in these movies. There can be no survivors now. Another thing I've got to talk about in the last one was Tony fucking Todd. Alright? He is awesome in these films. Not much in this one, but the first one, you know, and they go back to see him in this one, which he does show up again in the fifth one. But he is awesome. It's Tony Todd, of course he's awesome, you know? I'm just saying, if I had to mention him, I'm so stupid, but I'm mentioning him now. This one is a decent sequel. There are some things that bring it down for me. Killing off Alex Browning in that way. Having that connection, but it's still kind of not connected for me because it's a little bit awkward, I might say. Other than that, the Brian thing, the kid shouldn't have died. He just wanted a twist ending. All in all, it's probably the best sequel, you know, that connects to the original. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Because I gave the other one a 9. This one gets 8 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on Final Destination 2? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.